Professional truck drivers log millions of kilometers and encounter every kind of situation possible on the roads. Truck drivers know they don't want to tangle with the train. How to avoid an incident with a train is something every truck driver needs to know. Direction 2006 and Operation Lifesaver, working in collaboration to save lives along Canada's railways, wish to present Alive and Truckin', Truck Safety at Highway Railway Crossings. This educational presentation deals with the very real dangers that exist at highway railway crossings and delivers the information to assist you with preventing incidents. For truck drivers, there are many things to be aware of. First of all, crossbucks do more than just show where the road crosses the tracks. Crossbucks mean yield. Always expect a train. If a train is coming, you don't want the tail end of your truck hanging across the tracks waiting for the train to cut it off. It's a chance you don't want to take. Keep in mind that signage may differ in the U.S., but the meanings are the same. Bowmanville, Ontario, November 23, 1999. A truck driver jumps out of his rig to save his life just seconds before his tractor and trailer are struck by a freight train while straddling the railway tracks. The freight train collided with the truck, carrying it down the tracks when another high-speed passenger train approaching from the other direction also struck the truck. Both trains derailed, and remarkably, there were no fatalities. There are penalties for violating crossing safety rules. Penalties for circumventing the gates can incorporate fines, loss of points, and/or a suspension, depending on which province you are in. This also depends upon the actual charge laid by police. For example, careless driving versus driver failure to obey crossing gate signal versus dangerous driving under the criminal code. As a professional driver, all qualify as serious offenses. For truckers, your license is your meal ticket. If you're a Canadian trucker committing an offense in the U.S., remember you could lose your license in the States and/or be refused entry into the country. March 15, 1999, Bourbonnais, Illinois. A train collides with a flatbed loaded with steel bars. In a blink of an eye, 11 people are dead, 122 injured. It's the worst train-truck accident in recent history. The first step in avoiding a crash like that is check the signs. The advance warning sign. It's diamond shaped with a black on yellow symbol. It tells you to slow down at the crossing ahead. Almost every railway crossing is marked by a crossbuck on both sides of the tracks. Some of them have gates, lights, and bells. Most of them just have crossbucks. It doesn't matter. Crossbucks always mean yield. If there's more than one set of tracks, the sign below the crossbuck will tell you the number of tracks you will be going over. When you see the advance warning signs, here's the drill. Approach at a speed you can stop. Roll down the windows and turn off any noise in the cab. You know, a radio, a fan, whatever. Listen for the train. Look both ways, and don't be fooled on a multiple track crossing by one train passing. Another train could be coming from either direction. A railway buff was taping the slow-moving train when directly behind him, a truck pulled out in front of a second train. That trucker didn't check for a train on every track in both directions. March 8, 1996, near Fort Payne, Alabama. A freight train hits a flatbed, killing the driver and two passengers. Probable cause? The truck driver disregarded the crossbuck sign. The train horn was sounding, but the truck windows were closed. Latuque, Quebec, August 30th, 2000. One person was killed when the driver of a gravel truck failed to see a passenger train approaching from around a bend, as his view was blocked by his mirrors. By the time the truck driver saw the train, it was too late. Crossings marked only by crossbucks leave the decision when to cross up to the driver. It is a decision that could mean life and death. So follow the motto, look, listen, live. If you are transporting dangerous goods, however, laws in some provinces and the United States require that you must stop. Rules may differ for each province, but don't chance it with dangerous goods. The law specifies a stopping point between 5 and 15 meters from the nearest rail. When you see flashing lights and gates lowering, stop. It means a train is approaching. It's unsafe and illegal to cross. Remember, if you are caught running the crossing lights, penalties include costly fines and/or loss of points on your license, and they vary depending on what province you are in and the charge that is laid. You are also legally liable for any deaths, injuries, or damages. Here's a scary statistic. More than half of all collisions take place at crossings with active warning devices, such as flashing lights and gates. Drivers think they can beat the train and don't make it. Why risk your life to save a couple of minutes? When the signal flashes and the gate lowers, stop. March 20th, 1996, Clairton, Pennsylvania. A freight train crashes into a tractor pulling a tank trailer. Probable cause? The driver misjudged the proximity of the train. Can you tell how far away this train is? Can you tell how fast it's traveling? Because of your perspective, a train appears to be farther away and moving slower than it actually is. Don't misjudge the proximity or speed of a train. If it is close, it is too close. Stay put. Here's another tip. Once you start crossing the tracks, never change gears and risk stalling. It is illegal in some provinces to shift when crossing tracks. No two crossings are the same. There are some that cause big problems for truckers. June 18, 1998, Portage, Indiana. A tractor with a set of doubles started through a crossing at a steel mill. Halfway through, the gate lowered, trapping the truck. The driver thought there was enough space between the tracks, but the second trailer carrying a 19-ton steel coil hung over the track. The collision slammed the steel coil into the lead car, killing 3 people. If you're in the middle of a crossing and the gate lowers, keep going. Don't get trapped. Get off the tracks. Another scenario. A signal or stop sign is backing up traffic on the other side of the tracks, leaving you little room to cross. Don't get caught. Always look ahead. Make sure there's enough space for your rig if you're forced to stop. And be sure to factor in enough space for the overhang from both your own load and the train's overhang. Truckers drive some pretty big rigs, so know what you're driving. And don't get caught on the tracks. If it won't fit, don't commit. May 2nd, 1995, Sycamore, South Carolina. A tractor with a low bed trailer got caught on a hump crossing. The driver must have spent 35 minutes in a wasted effort to move the truck before he was struck by a train. 33 people were injured, over $1 million in damages. The driver failed to respond promptly to an emergency. Knowing your route will help you avoid hump crossings. Hump crossings are mostly on secondary roads. Some are marked, others are not. Unmarked ones are tough to spot. If you're pulling a lowboy, moving van, or car carrier, don't risk getting hung up. Any truck's landing gear can get stuck. The rule is simple. If there's any doubt about getting stuck, find another crossing. If you haul logs for a living, you have a heavy responsibility. The lives of many people can depend on your decisions at the crossing. Take extra caution when coming out of the woods with a load, and be sure you know the length of your vehicle and allow for overhang. There is no room for error when you're dealing with a train at a railway crossing. If your unit gets stuck, get out of the truck and stay out of the cab. Immediately call the railway. Look for an emergency 1-800 phone number along with a crossing identification on installations at the crossing. Give the exact information as it appears on the sign. If there isn't a posted 1-800 number, call 911 or the local emergency number. If you don't have a cell phone or there isn't a phone nearby, find someone to call for you and find them fast. Whatever you do, don't ever think you can stop a train by waving at it. Trains can't stop quickly. Some passenger trains move at 160 kilometers an hour. Even if the engineer sees you, an average train traveling at 100 kilometers an hour can take up to 2 kilometers to stop. Each crossing is a safe crossing when all signs are obeyed and respected. So when you see this advance warning sign, plan ahead and slow down. And when you approach the crossbucks, yield, look both ways, roll down your window, and listen. And remember, if you're hauling dangerous goods, know that laws vary and that you may be required to stop. When approaching a crossing, always check the other side of the tracks for available room before you start to cross. You don't want to get hemmed in or leave your tail hanging out. If you pull a low bed trailer, don't get caught up on the hump. Find another route. If you do get stuck, get out of the cab and call the 1-800 number, 911, or the local emergency number as soon as possible. A final note to remember: any time is train time. Always expect a train. When the lights flash and the gates lower, stop. Never try to beat a train across the track. It's a gamble that could cost you serious penalties, maybe even your life. Provincial laws and regulations governing truck driver actions at highway-railway crossings may vary in each province. Please check your own province's policy to make sure that you are in compliance at all times.